Mr. Kwabena, welcome to this interview.
Thank you.
Yeah. Can you tell me a little bit about yourself, your qualification, and your experience?
I'm Kwabena Angus. I completed your secondary qualification in 2004. I taught for 5 years and studied to University for Development Studies to obtain BSc Agricultural Technology. I was first posted to BBNU Municipal and later transferred to this municipal. And I have been here for almost 3 years. I'm a science teacher. I taught the Form 1 Science, the new curriculum.
Oh.
So that's the little that I can say about myself.
Oh, okay. That's, so you seem to have a lot of experience in teaching.
Yeah, I've taught for 18 years. So
okay. So if you are teaching, what are some of the important things that you consider as a teacher?
As a teacher.
Yeah.
You see, at times I normally consider the environment.
Mm-hmm.
The environment conducive for the teaching. I also consider the level of the children. You see, some of the children, they can't read. So if you don't calm down, it will be very difficult for them to understand. So at times I consider the time, the number of hours I'm going to use to teach them. That's some of the things that I normally consider.
Okay, so as a science teacher, what is very important to you? What is very important to you? When you are teaching in the class. So after you say you consider, what about your students?
Okay, I thought the very important thing to me is for them to understand whatever I'll be going there to teach them. So the first thing is understanding of the topic, and they should be able to answer the question that I will ask them to do. Well, without answering the question, it means the understanding wasn't all that good. So understanding the lesson was very important.
Okay, so you consider student understanding as very, very important.
And they should be able to at least answer the question that I will ask them to do.
So how do you know that your students have actually understood what you are teaching?
You see, giving them question, if they're able to answer it, it means they have understood it.
Okay.
And at times, after teaching, you ask them individual questions.
Okay.
If they're able to answer you, it means you have achieved your objectives.
So now, that's good. So if you, as a science teacher, what do you feel are your key responsibilities? Your main responsibility as a teacher, science teacher for that matter?
My main responsibility is to help them to understand and for them to use their idea to create something. You see, the main motive of the new curriculum is to motivate the children to be creative. After teaching them, for example, if you are teaching them physics or anything about how to use wires to manufacture something, okay, they should be able to practice it.
Okay.
So after everything, they should understand it and use their own idea.
Yeah. Do you think that is also important to the students?
Oh, it's important.
Like they consider that as an important, it matters to them that they are able to get the knowledge and be able to apply the knowledge.
Yeah, you see, children are always happy when we ask them to use their hand to do something. You see, at times you may be surprised. If you ask them to use even clay to form something, or even to use wires when you are teaching them electricals, the participation will be more than teaching them the theory, like using your mouth to talk. But you ask them to participate, they pay attention more than the actual one that you will be standing there talking. That one they will not understand.
So you think that the most important value that students get from learning science is their ability to apply the knowledge, right?
Yeah, it's very important.
So apart from that, apart from they being able to apply the knowledge, what other do you consider is important for them?
You see, science helps them to be observant. You see, at times it also helps them to observe whatever they are doing, they pay attention to it. So as a science student, you should know that a little mistake that you commit can cause an accident. So they should be very careful when they are in the, especially when they go to the laboratories. There are certain things that they shouldn't touch. There are certain things that they should touch. So it guide them. It also open their mind.
Okay.
Open their mind to be very attentive wherever they go.
Yeah. So you think that the science that we are doing here give them a lot of importance in their real life?
Yeah, it's very important. It gives a lot of advantage. Help them to know that science. We use science every day. Even when we are eating, it's science. So whatever we are doing, we should consider science to be part of it.
So that you think motivate the student in your class to learn.
To learn because this new curriculum is more of practical. Everything you have to involve them. Everything you have to let them to also participate. So that is what we normally do these days.
Okay. So tell me, in all your experiences as a teacher, what are some of the major challenges that you face in the teaching of science?
You see, you have a lot of challenges.
Okay.
One is the materials.
When you say materials, what do you mean?
Like the textbook that we are going to use to teach them, the textbook.
Okay, so I'm not talking in terms of this curriculum. You come to the new curriculum. Okay. I'm looking at the general picture.
Yeah. The one challenge is we don't have a laboratory.
Okay.
There are certain things that you need to see it for themselves. For example, the chemicals. Some of the children haven't even seen acid before. So if you are teaching the acid and bases, how would they know this one is acid? Some of them will go and touch it because they don't know it. So we don't have the lab. Laboratory is a problem. And leaving the materials, the chemicals that we are going to use. But we don't have some of these simple things. For example, the measuring cylinders, this microscope, and they don't know.
So basically, one of the key issues is lack of resources. You're teaching
yes.
Okay. Aside that, any other that you can think of, any other challenge that you think of in general?
The one is absenteeism.
Absenteeism?
Yes, some of them, they will come to school today, so tomorrow they will not come. So the topic that you have taught maybe yesterday, the child may not be there. So if you want to continue, maybe the child is going to find it difficult to understand it. So at times you have to go back. So it always makes you not be able to finish your topics.
How does that? Okay, so you are saying that affects your teaching because the students are always absenting themselves. Yes. And how does it affect the students themselves?
You see, because if you don't come today, tomorrow, whatever we are doing today, you will not be able to understand it. So what I want them to do is also always to come to school. You can feed them. Because when it comes in your exams, because the child wasn't there, you will not be able to answer the questions, which will lead the person to fail.
Okay. Now, can you tell me a time when you felt that the teaching of science really mattered to the students? I don't know if you get me. So you have been teaching a lot. You have been teaching a lot of topics, and a particular time that you thought that student, what you were teaching, they saw it as very important, or it matters most to them. Can you tell me, have you observed such a situation?
Yeah, I have observed so. You see, when you are teaching the practical, for example, field work. You see, now we are doing integrated science. Okay. So we send them to the school garden and ask them to practice it themselves. They feel so happy. So field work is one of the areas that the children normally participate. If you involve them, if you ask them to do it themselves, they feel happy.
So what specific topic were you teaching? Give me a concrete, specific topic that you were teaching, and the students were. You saw that
farming systems.
Okay.
You see, most of the students here are farmers. So if you send them to the school garden, in fact, some of the things that they have learned from their mothers and their fathers, at times me myself, they taught me that said this is what best we do.
Okay.
So it really matters when you send them to the field. That's where they exhibit their experience that they got from their parents and their other colleagues.
Okay, so what you are telling me is that because they have the background,
Yes.
or is this what you are teaching them is within their environment, they really understand that much,
Yes.
and it matters to them. Why do you think that teaching them the farming thing that relates to their environment matters to them?
You see, as a teacher, you should start with what the children already know. So immediately, because they have got the idea, it helps them to understand. And at times, if you go to topics like physics, how to use battery and a wire to produce maybe light, you will see them what some of them know how to do it. So before I will start, they themselves will even do it, and they will bring it. The last time I saw a certain boy using battery and wire to manufacture a toy car. The car can move from one place and also come back from the reverse too. So they are doing well. If only you have the facilities, the resources, I'm sure they will also participate.
Oh, that's fine. So they mean that from my understanding, when teaching becomes important to the students, when it is related to their environment,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
And they are able to, whatever concept that you are teaching can be made practically known to them.
Yes.
And they can feel it.
I feel it.
Any other, so yeah, that's one situation. So apart from that scenario, any other scenario, specific time, maybe you can tell me, I was teaching a particular topic like this. Any other situation that you can also talk about?
You see, the children also participate. You see, there are certain topics that they themselves they have heard it, but they don't believe it. For example, teaching them reproduction, that's a teenage pregnancy. You see, they have heard certain things in the house, but they said they don't know. So if you are teaching them certain topic, they want to share their experience. They want to share that they have heard that if you are of age and you don't take boyfriend or girlfriend, you will become dull. So at times, because of this perspective, they may also go and practice it. So if you tell them that topic, it helps them to also share their problems and their ideas, what they want to know.
Oh, okay. So if I get you right, I mean that. So if you put it, how will you put it? When does your teaching of science become important to matters most to the student?
It's when they have heard something about the topic. And two, if you ask them to also, if you involve them in the topic, they also help them to become very important.
Have you ever had the chance to talk to the student about, find out what really, when you are teaching, what is important that to them when you are teaching them science?
If you go there and give them only the note, they will not understand it. So what they normally tell me is that whenever you are teaching them and you ask them to also come and demonstrate for their colleagues to see it, you see, it also helps them to know that they are also part of the class. So at times you may stand there talking. If you ask them a question, none of them will be able to answer. But if you call 2 or 3 people to come and demonstrate, they understand themselves more than we the teachers.
So what you are saying is that something becomes, your teaching of science becomes important to the student when they are involved in the teaching. So how did you get to know that? Is this through observation or you're asking them questions?
Through questions. And after everything, you give them exercise. You will see that the exercise, most of them will get the questions correct. And if you ask them the following day, if you ask them questions, they are picky. You will see that they will be able to help you whatever you taught them the previous day. Yes. You see that at times if you go there and give them the notes and just talking, you go and stand there, you ask because none of them will respond. But if they participate the following day, you will see that almost the whole class will be able to remember whatever you have taught them.
That's good. Now let's look at the new curriculum. If you think about the new curriculum, what do you see are some of the important changes in terms of your own practice? Do you see any changes in regard to the new curriculum as part of your own practice?
Yeah, I've seen a lot of changes. This new curriculum is more or less practical oriented. This one is not where the teacher will always stand there and talk to the children. This one is just a matter of giving them the question and they also give you the answer. So it's now collaborative work. The teacher alone is not going to do the work. So the teacher and the people are the people that are going to discuss the topic and find solution to the problem.
Okay, so one of the changes that you see in the curriculum is your role as a teacher changes from just giving out information.
The theory, just standing there and talk, but this time everything is activity. So everything, the children will also participate.
Okay. So that is one. Any other changes that you see in terms of your own personal practice?
And this one too, it also helps them to understand it.
No, I mean your own practice, like maybe how you do things in the previous curriculum and how you do things now. Do you see your own any changes in the way you approach things?
Yeah, I've seen a lot of things because at first, if you one topic that you teach at maybe Form 1, you will not meet that topic again. But these days, the topic has been divided into 3. So if you teach one topic this term, the following year you go and do the same thing in the following class. To me, the children will always meet that particular topic for 3 or 4 times. So it helps them to understand. At first, if you teach one topic, the children they will not meet that topic again until they go to the final exams and write. But these days, it has helped us because you know that you are going to meet the same topic. So the children, if they don't understand at the first time, the following term they will understand it.
So in your own practice, what are some of the changes that you are doing now which you are not doing in the previous curriculum? Some of the things that you are now doing.
Okay, now this curriculum is more of group work.
Yeah, so I want like your own.
My own. It has helped me a lot because this curriculum it gives us more. It gives more time to teach the children. At first, the topic was loaded. But this time it has been limited, so it gives more time to teach the children.
So how does your teaching changes from the old one to the new one? Have you seen any approach personally, the way you teach?
Yeah, I have seen a lot of improvement because these days you go to class without any pressure. Well, you know that they have given you time. Use this time, and the time too is what is adequate for me to use to teach them. At least if you are going to use 1 hour for a lesson, it helps me to take my time and talk to the children.
Okay. So what are some of the opportunities that you think the new curriculum presents to you as a teacher?
It will help me to become creative. And it had also opened opportunity for us to do more research. Where the topic will be given to you and I ask you to go and find out. So it helped me to do more research, and it also helped me to go to outside the school and find out all of the things that are happening outside and bring it to the children for them to also know.
Yeah, that's good. So now let's come to, of course, once you have opportunity, there are also challenges.
Okay.
What are some of the challenges that you find about the new curriculum?
One is the materials. Now, since the introduction of the new curriculum, there has not been any textbook. So if you don't have a smartphone, how are you going to do your research? So at times you may go to class without knowing what you are going to teach them. So one of the main challenges, the textbook, you don't have the materials to teach the children.
Yes, with regard to the new curriculum. But so how do you manage that?
You see, at times you do your own research. You go to net and find some of these topics and also download it and use it to teach your children.
So you do your own research. And then you find the information and then you come and
to your children.
And present. And how does it go? How do you find that?
It's very tedious, because if you are at a particular area where there is no network, how are you going to find the information? I don't have smartphone too, so it's very difficult for some of us to do it. At times, even you have to buy credit. So if you don't have money, the children also are not going to benefit. So these are some of the challenges.
I don't have enough idea about the new curriculum.
Yeah, we had workshop, about 1 week workshop. So we were taught a lot about this. You should not stand there as master of all knowing. Talking, we should now involve the children for them also to express their views.
So how does that changes your approach to teaching? If students are going to be active participants in your class, how does that changes your approach to teaching?
It has brought a lot of change, because now you are not going to talk. You bring the topic and you and the children are going to discuss it. So it helps me to speed up, and it's also increase it helps them to participate. Their participation has helped a lot. And spending much time is now thing of the past. So they now understand it more than.
One of the key points that the curriculum emphasizes is the issue of child-centeredness.
Yes.
That the approach to teaching must be child-centered. What does this mean to you as a teacher?
Child-centered is where you consider the children.
I mean, your personally as a teacher, yeah.
Yes.
What does it mean to you?
Personally, to me, it's very important. It's a laudable idea. Because at first we thought that the children, they are empty. But now as a teacher, it has helped me to know that after all, they have something in their mind. So it has helped me a lot.
So how do you ensure in your teaching that how are you able to approach that in your teaching?
Now it has helped me to prepare very well before. So any topic that I'm going to teach them, I take that topic as a serious topic. But this time, the children will be involved, so I should know a lot. So that the children, they themselves will also help to move forward.
Okay, so that's one aspect of child-centered, the child being involved. Any other idea that you think personally what child-centered approach to teaching means to you?
The child-centered approach also has helped me to know that the children can now use their hand to do things. It's more of the children, no teachers. The children are now considered. So it has now helped me to know that the children, after they have something in them, so they normally test or they produce what they have in their mind.
So you help the students to create their own knowledge,
yes.
Their own knowledge.
They are innovative, yes.
Yeah, you help them to be innovative and
yes.
creative. How do you do that?
By giving them the topic and ask them to do it themselves. You show it how to do it, but you'll be surprised that some of these children will do it, and you yourself you will not believe them. So you demonstrate for them to see, and ask them to also do it.
Okay, so if I were to come to your class to observe a science lesson that is really child-centered, what do you think I will see?
Or you see that the children will do most of the activities without the teacher. Most of the activities. The children will participate and they will do most of the activities.
And what will be your role? What will be your role then in the teaching?
As a teacher, your role is to guide them. Is to guide them and control the class. You see, whatever the case may be, you have some children who may disturb. So your role is to guide. When they are going wrong, you direct them and give them the overview of the activity for them to do it.
How do you bring in you are looking at child-centered approach to your teaching in a particular class? So if you take a specific, can you give me a specific topic that you were teaching, what you were doing, and then the role that the students were also performing, like in the new curriculum?
Well, you have a topic, that's the diversity of matter.
Okay.
That's of materials. You see, the materials, the children know, they know, they know that we have different types of materials.
Yeah.
And they also know that we can use materials to produce different things. So something like what? Plants. Plant, you will see a plant like this one. So what are the use of the plant? And where do we get the plant from? So they will know that the plant is used as a food, provided. So they normally know it better when you use what? Particular topic, which is what? Particular oriented.
Okay. So for you, child-centeredness is getting students involved in the lesson. So what are some of the strategies that you use to get the child involved?
The strategies?
Yeah.
You see, when it is a practical thing, you will not show it to the children. You ask them questions. So when you ask them questions, they themselves will tell you. So before you start showing them, they will be going around with their topic. Before you realize, they will mention what you are going to teach them.
I want some strategies that you use to get students, like you use group work, and how do you do those things to get students? You're talking about collaboration.
We normally use group work.
So how do you do those things?
Group work, you show them this is how it is being done, and you will demonstrate for them to see. And you choose what the group leaders and ask them to practice. After everything, you have to go around and inspect whatever they are doing.
Any other strategy that you use to make your teaching child-centered? Any other strategies?
At times you can bring facilitator. Yes. Maybe a teacher, you may not know all the areas. So if you bring facilitator, the children normally learn best when they see visitors. So if you bring facilitator, they will also show you, or you also go and learn from somewhere, so that the class will also be more effective.
Okay. So if you take a typical lesson, maybe under the old curriculum, how is that different from what this curriculum you are currently practicing? How is that different?
Okay, the first one, for example, topics like what? For the animal production. I will not have anything like animal production, but this particular one, they have directed us to let the children know that this ruminant, this is poultry. If possible, we should get the rare animal for them to see it. But at first, it was just a topic, and you will be searching around for them to understand. But this one, they have directed you to a particular area. You have to read this point, you have to read this point. So this one is more comprehensive than the first one.
So that's in terms of your own practice.
My own practice.
Okay, so you see, from what you are saying, you are seeing some changes.
A lot of changes.
You yourself.
Yeah.
Okay. So apart from the students being actively involved, what else will you be doing if I enter your class and I'm observing a science lesson that is typically child-centered?
You will see most of them participating. And at first you may be surprised that you will go there, none of them will even talk. But now you will see some signs of seriousness. You see that most of them are eager to come to class because of this new curriculum.
So yeah, the new curriculum doesn't make people. So how do you observe that your students are eager to learn the science? How do you know that?
Their readiness to class.
Their readiness. And what has brought that? Is it based on your own changes, practice that you have learned from the new curriculum, or what?
Things that we have learned from the new curriculum, because the children know that we are going to do this activity. So let him go and sit down so that we may also take part.
You mean that you are doing really well, because if you look at the fact that there's no resource material, but you are managing. Yeah. Can you tell me more about that? Because if there are no resources and you are still able to engage the student, which is very, very good. Is it based on your experience that you are using that to engage the student, or what? Tell me specifically. Yeah.
It's a new curriculum. But some of the topics, you will find some of these topics in the book one. So it's a matter of gathering materials and prepare your own notes. At times you may call a friend if the person is having a idea on that topic. You will go to him or her for him to direct you. Or you also do your own research. If you don't have a friend, you can go to net, or you can borrow a friend phone and find your own materials and present it to the children.
So the curriculum that you see, is it, if you look at it, is it more of the practice that is changed, or the content? If you look at it critically, which one will you say has changed most? That its emphasis, is it the emphasis on change of the content or the change of the approach?
A change of approach.
The change of approach.
Because you may find the topics in the new curriculum
being the same.
They being the same, and the old ones are the same. But the approach that you use is what? Far different.
So what are some of these approach? Even though you talk about some of them, and you think about and tell me some other approaches that you are currently involved in.
One of the approaches is this one. You just introduce the topic, and you have the children also bring that out to their ideas.
So how do you get the student to bring their ideas?
Oh, you ask them. You go around the topic go around the topic and they themselves will come out with the answer. Yes. Well, they don't think that the children, they have something in their mind. At times they may think that they are empty, but if you ask them, they do a lot. Bring the topic and also bring if you see that they are going outside the topic, then I also direct them to come back to the main topic and discuss.
So basically, in this curriculum, you are to facilitate the children understanding of science.
Yes.
Is that right?
Yeah, sure.
Okay. So typically, if you look at, can you tell me a particular topic that you consider that under the new curriculum that you thought what were some of the things that you were doing? If you look at the approach, a particular topic under the new curriculum
that the children,
that you yourself, you thought and you saw that it went well because of certain approach that you use.
Okay, teaching them the three states of matter.
What were you doing?
Well, some of them, they didn't know the difference between the solid, liquid and gas. So we asked them to bring water and bring maybe gari or anything else. So I asked them to pour the tea on the floor. And I asked them to describe what they saw. So they told me that the water can flow, they can move from one place to another, but the gari will be at the same place. So this helped them to know that a liquid is anything that can flow. At first, they didn't even know that the vapor is an example of gas. They have been seeing it, but some of these things help them to really understand it. That is liquid. That anything that can flow is what? Liquid. And they can also hold solid. Liquid doesn't have any phase sheet, but the solid, so they are able to tell me the difference between the three states of the matter.
So how do you think that coming to find out from the student what is important, do you actually take time to talk with them to find out what maybe their views about the teaching and others are, or you don't normally do that?
Come again.
Like, do you talk to your student to find out what is important to them as they are learning science?
Yes, it's important because the same topic you ask the importance of water. So what is important of, they will tell you. You ask them, where do we get the mobile phone from? They will give you different answers. But it's through science that helps us to get the mobile phone. So without science, human beings cannot live. So they now know that science is what? Very important.
So how do you know, when you are teaching, how do you know that this is what is important to my students? This is what is, are they concerned about their grades? Are they concerned about being able to participate? What are some of the things that you see as important to them as students?
This curriculum is not a matter of passing. It's more of what? Involvement. You see, at first we were teaching them, you read, if you pass then you throw it somewhere. But this I have been told that these people, they are not even going to write final presents. So what they are going to do is help them to understand it. Because some of these children, some of them can read and write, but understanding is a problem. So this time, involvement is what is important to me as a science teacher. Not going to exams and pass. They should have the idea. That will help them to read their own life. So in future, because most of them will, after school, they may not be continuing. But they can use their literacy idea to manufacture their own items and for them also to get money.
Oh, okay, so if I get you right, that's interesting. If I get you right, you as a teacher, what matters to you when you are teaching is for the student to understand. Right?
And participate and use it in future.
Okay.
Yes.
So you are looking at application of the knowledge.
Knowledge.
That is important to you. So you make sure that the student
They should be innovative. If you're able to produce this one, they should also produce something which is different from this.
That's creativity.
Creativity is very good. Creativity.
I think that is emphasized in the
new curriculum.
That to you it matters most to you.
It matters most to you.
So how do you talk about three important things, which is very I'm really interested in that. You say that you are not interested in the student passing,
yes,
but yes, being able to understand what you are teaching and then make application of that matters to you as a student. You think that is also important to the student as well, because so the student might not be interested, they want to be a doctor, so they are interested in passing. How about these issues?
Some of them, if you ask them, some of them say I want to become a doctor. But most of them like what you have been doing. That passing alone will not help them, because a child may write exam and pass. If you ask him the following day, the same question, he will not be able to tell you. But if you ask the person to understand it, it will be in the person's mind forever. Whatever the person will do. So my teacher taught me this. The teacher asked me to use this one to prepare this. So
that's for you. It's very important.
It's very important
for you. That matters to you when you are teaching science, to be able to ensure that. Good. Any other thing that also matters to you when you are teaching science?
You see, what I normally consider is that they should improve on whatever I have taught them. They shouldn't just limit themselves. They should improve upon it.
When you say improve, can you explain that a bit for me?
Or they should use their idea, or they should use their knowledge to do something which you have not even taught them. They should do it and come and show it to me. So when they do it, I becomes happy. Well, I have some people from too. You can give them they normally do it and come and show it to us. This is what I have manufactured.
And when you see that, what do you feel?
I become happy.
You become very happy.
Very happy, because it's not all of them will be able to do it, but having the idea and do it, I have to encourage them that if you're able to do it, you can become engineer. So we normally encourage them that this is your area. So continue to do it, because some of them are very good.
So it means that as you teach, you try to
identify
some of the areas, and then wow.
Some children, you see them in class without contributing. They will not talk in class. But if you ask them to use their hand to do something, you will be surprised. It means some of them they can't even read. But if you ask them to use it, they will become happy, and they will do it and do it well. So all of them, they have their talent. It's just that we don't have the materials to help them to improve upon it. So we are praying that one day.
Wow, that's interesting. I'm really interested in that, because as teachers, we need to find out also what is important to our students as well.
Yes.
But you were saying that maybe grading for you and exams is not more concern. That's thank you for your time. Any other thing that you think you haven't talked about that you want to share with me? Any other thing you want to, in regard to what, maybe any question that I haven't asked, I think is very important. I'm looking at our practice and how it affects the students. So if it's any question or any other thing that
my question is, the children, the parents, can I involve the parents? My question is, you should also, as you have come here to do your observation, you should also help us so that we help the parents, or we should encourage the parents to buy some of these materials for their house. Because when they go, I've seen that when they go, they don't do any revision. So if the parents, if you can also involve this one in your discussion. So that we go on even ready as you are doing your research. But the parents should take education as a very important thing. They should help their children to also become important people in the future. If you can add this one to your research.
That's true. Yeah, so it's very important. It's very important that you raise that issue. I'm really grateful. For your time. And if you have any last comment, I say my last comment is thank you for your time. And thank you for the opportunity to share your experience and the challenges and the issues. So we will be looking at bringing some of these issues when we come to the workshop to see how it also affects our teaching. Thank you so much.
You are welcome.